The maze of the dream stretches in every direction, and he feels the walls closing in, but when he runs they vanish and reappear ahead, twisting until he loses sense of up and down. Gravity bends sideways, pulling him against shifting walls. Doors open into endless corridors, and each corridor leads back to the same spot, the same locked door mocking him. He finally forces it open, only to find a vast library with books stacked higher than mountains. But every book has his name on it. He opens one and sees his memories written page after page, but the words twist, bleed, and rearrange themselves into sentences. He never lived events he never knew. He drops the book, but the library shakes, pages rip free, floating around him, forming wings that wrap around his body and drag him upward into another world. He lands in a desert of glass where the sand cuts his feet, each shard reflecting distorted versions of himself, some screaming, some smiling, some lying dead on the ground. He tries to run, but the reflections chase him, pulling at his arms, dragging him toward a giant mirror rising out of the desert. He touches the mirror, and it liquefies, swallowing him whole. He falls again into a black ocean, waves towering above him, yet silent. The water is full of shadows shaped like people reaching for his ankles, pulling him under. He sinks deeper and deeper, but instead of drowning, he lands on the floor of a forest. The trees whisper his name, leaves rustle with secrets, and every shadow behind the trees bends toward him. As if alive, he runs through the forest, but the ground disappears with each step, roots turning into hands that grab at his legs. He breaks free and finds himself standing on a bridge of bone stretching over a void. Screams rise from below, voices of millions, trapped souls begging for help. He runs across the bridge, but it begins to crack, bones splintering into dust, until he barely leaps to the other side, only to find himself back in his room, his bed waiting, the blanket folded neatly as if inviting him to sleep again. But he knows it is a trap. Still he cannot resist. He lies down, closing his eyes, and when he opens them he is inside a carnival, music playing, lights flashing, but every ride is broken, twisted into monstrous shapes. The carousel spins with empty horses, their eyes glowing red. The Ferris wheel turns with no one inside, yet voices scream from the top. He runs past game stalls where prizes are not toys but pieces of his own body, organs floating in glass jars labeled with his name. He staggers backward, horrified, but the clown at the stall with a painted grin whispers, "Welcome home." He flees again, and enters a tunnel of mirrors, each mirror showing a different version of himself. One is old, one is young, one is dead, one is monstrous. Their eyes follow him, their mouths move, but no sound comes until every reflection screams at once. The tunnel collapses, and he is thrown into darkness, floating weightless. A single light appears far away. He swims toward it, but it recedes further and further. No matter how fast he moves, it never grows closer, until finally it vanishes, leaving him in endless black, and a whisper fills the void. This is not a dream, this is forever. The void swallows him whole, and yet from the silence comes a faint ticking sound, faint at first, then louder until it feels like 1,000 clocks beating inside his skull. He looks around, but there are no clocks, only darkness. He covers his ears, but the ticking comes from within his body, each heartbeat like metal striking iron. Suddenly a single door appears floating in the blackness. When he opens it, he finds himself standing on an endless staircase, spiraling downward into smoke. He descends step after step, his legs trembling, but the staircase never ends. Each step echoes like a drumbeat, every echo growing louder than the last, until he realizes it is not the staircase making the sound, but something following him down, something huge, breathing just out of sight. He dares not look back. Instead he runs faster downward until the steps crumble beneath him, and he falls once more. He lands in a city, but this time the city is upside down. Buildings hang from the sky, streets run across ceilings, and people walk with their heads twisted backward, their eyes glowing white. They do not notice him until he breathes too loudly, then all heads snap toward him in perfect unison. He flees, but the streets bend, fold, and twist like paper, wrapping him tighter and tighter until he squeezes through a crack and emerges into a forest of statues. Each statue is of himself, frozen in different moments of fear, some with mouths open in screams, some covering their eyes, some lying broken on the ground. He touches one statue and it crumbles into dust. Then all the statues turn their heads toward him, stone eyes following every move. The forest shakes and shatters, and he bursts into a chamber filled with water, rising quickly, the walls smooth with no exit. The water climbs higher, filling his lungs, but instead of drowning, he floats upward through the ceiling into a sky of blood-red clouds. Lightning cracks, and from the clouds descend giant skeletal hands, reaching down, grabbing at the city below, tearing it apart. Piece by piece, he drifts between the hands as they try to snatch him, but he slips away, only to find himself on a bridge of glass stretching over infinite darkness. Each step cracks louder, louder, the glass splinters, but he cannot stop. He runs faster, hearing the whispering voices from below chanting his name over and over. The bridge finally shatters, and he falls again, this time into a hallway lined with doors, hundreds of them, all marked with his name. He opens one and sees himself asleep in bed. Another shows him walking outside, another shows him running through the same hallway. He realizes every door is another dream, another version of him trapped in endless cycles. He slams the doors shut, but they begin opening on their own, one by one, thousands of versions of himself, stepping out blank-faced, marching toward him, surrounding him, until the hallway collapses in a deafening roar. He covers his eyes, and when he opens them he is back where it All began staring at the mirror once again, and the reflection grins, whispering you never left.